Welcome to the Dr. Lori Mars podcast, where she interviews experts in health and science, sharing their expertise so you can live your healthiest life. This episode of the podcast is proudly sponsored by Fit Vegan Coaching, the world's leading whole food, plant-based body recomposition program for Gen X and baby boomers. Founded by Maxime, whose personal journey began after losing his ex-fiancée to breast cancer, Fit Vegan Coaching is on a mission to disease-proof the world through the transformative power of plant-based eating and fitness. This program is the Rolls-Royce of plant-based coaching, offering all-inclusive services, personalized plans, world-class accountability, lifelong support, and more. Say goodbye to the yo-yo dieting and embrace a lasting transformation that will rev up your metabolism even post-transformation. Ready to take charge of your health and vitality? Head over to fitvegan.ca, that's fitvegan.ca, and mention Dr. Lori for exclusive bonus savings when you sign up. Don't miss this opportunity to join the movement towards a healthier, fitter, and more vibrant you. Are you tired of compromising between convenience and healthy eating? Look no further. Introducing Whole Harvest, your ultimate solution for wholesome plant-based meals. Whole Harvest is redefining the way you eat. Their meals are not only delicious, but also 100% whole food plant-based without any compromise. Whole Harvest takes pride in their approach. There's no oils, no added sugars, and low sodium. Plus, they have SOS-free menu items available. I recommend Whole Harvest to my patients. They need convenient and compliant meals that can be delivered to their home. At Whole Harvest, you can reimagine your favorite dishes with a plant-based flair and enjoy menu items like the All-American Burger, Harvest Lasagna, and Soba Kimchi Bowl. Whole Harvest meals are chef-crafted and made with high-quality ingredients, delivered straight to your door. And guess what? They ship nationwide, so you can enjoy whole food, plant-based meals no matter where you are. And here's an exclusive offer just for our podcast listeners. Use the discount code PLANTS30 to receive $30 off your first order. Visit wholeharvest.com and place your order today. Again, that's wholeharvest.com. Your journey to delicious whole food plant-based eating starts here. This episode of the podcast is proudly sponsored by The Healing Kitchen, your path to vibrant health. Immerse yourself in the transformative program, guided by the combined expertise of myself, Dr. Lori Marbus, and Chef Brittany Giroudi, who has lost 70 pounds on a whole food plant-based diet. Here's what's in store for you. Virtual weekly sessions. Engage in an immersive 60-minute virtual session every single week, where you'll delve into the world of wholesome plant-based goodness right from your own kitchen. Cooking with Brittany the first half hour. Unleash your inner chef as you're captivated by Chef Brittany Giroudi's culinary mastery that will delight your taste buds and nourish your body. Medical Q&A with Dr. Lori the last half hour. Prioritize your well-being during the second half hour. I will personally address your medical inquiries, providing evidence-based insights and personalized advice, empowering you to make informed choices for your health. So join us on the Healing Kitchen to help you step into a healthier and most vibrant future. Welcome to the podcast. And today I'm very honored to have two dear friends, Nelson Campbell and his dad, Dr. T. Colin Campbell. How are you both today?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yes, and I'm really excited to share with people. You have some neat updates and some really amazing opportunities for people to further engage with you. Can you share, Nelson, what that would be?
Yes, so we're getting ready to launch kind of an events-oriented business here in the mountains of North Carolina, starting with an initial program involving my father. But maybe before we get to that, I don't know if you'd like us to give you some updates on what we're doing. And Dad, you could kick it off if you want, because I know you're doing something very exciting now with the new book.
Yeah, without going too long and just comment, basically I've written some previous books, as you know, and each of them having a purpose. China Study introduced what I had come to learn essentially. Whole was an explanation of a certain way of thinking about this. And Future of Nutrition recently basically is going back into history and sort of asking the question, why haven't we heard it before? So the new book here is another angle, and that really has to do with why is it so difficult for this nutrition message to be told. It's quite frankly, it's quite an old story. And I've narrowed it down to two thoughts. One is, do we revere protein from animal sources like we always have? What's the reason for that? And secondly, what about this question concerning all nutrients working together rather than one at a time? And so I have narrowed down my long career into two thoughts. That's what, based on the data, totally based on the data, not my personal preference. And that is, we don't need animal protein, so we don't need animal food, period. I'm sure I can convince people of that. And secondly, on the question concerning, it's just about eating, all the nutrients in a given food at about the same time, because let Mother Nature take over how to handle it. So it's a very simple message, and it's for all societies and et cetera, et cetera. So what the new book is a third sort of a fourth dimension, and that is what got in the way historically up until the present day to convey this really important message, more important message in my view, and I'm discovering from a lot of other people too, they agree with me. That's it. And without getting into the details, it's just an exploration of why we have so much difficulty with this. I've experienced a lot of pushback, and a lot of it has to do with what goes on within the system and how we think about this. So it's a big issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nelson.
Lori.
I was just going to say, your book, The China Study, changed my life 12 years ago. So anything that you put out is such a blessing for us to have and able to read and provide to other generations. And I know I've affected many, many lives over 12 years. I can only imagine all the other people. So thank you for taking this on.
Yeah. And that actually kind of leads into what we're going to be doing in December. But before I get to that, I'll give you just a real quick update on what we're working on and the two organizations that I'm involved in, PlantPure and our nonprofit PlantPure Communities. I won't get into a lot of detail. I'll just say, provide an update of one part of all of that really helped motivate this idea for what we're doing in December and beyond. And Lori, you are a big part of this. It has to do with our film, From Food to Freedom. So through our nonprofit, we funded and produced this film, From Food to Freedom. And you're a star participant in that. We actually won a lot of awards and honors at film festivals. I think we're up to 9 now, which
Wow.
I didn't think we were going to win anything. I've never really won anything before.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's been very well received. And we did a little sneak peek release of this back in the spring with our friends at Food Revolution Network. And over 7 days, over 100,000 people signed up to watch the film. Most of them did watch it. So we were just as excited as we could be about releasing this and started to work on it this summer and took some early steps. But then toward the end of the summer, ran into a roadblock. And we actually re-engaged our friends at Food Revolution Network to help us out with this. But I won't go into all the details. I'll just say that our film has been suppressed. The promotion of the film, utilizing our trailer, has been suppressed by Facebook. And we launched a formal appeal and got nowhere. We did, actually, there were conversations with a human being inside Facebook. But so anyways, our film has been, for want of a better word, censored. And that's really created a huge challenge for us. We have strategies through our organizations that we're hinging on the public release of the film. So, you know, that's created some financial and other challenges. And we're working on a strategy now to overcome those challenges. But it was some of those difficulties that prompted the idea of an events kind of business, I guess, that would be synergistic with the strategies of our two organizations. And I won't go into all the reasons for that, but it just kind of leads up to what we're getting ready to do here. So on December 3rd to 7th, we are having an event at the Lake Junaluska community in the mountains of Western North Carolina. And this, I think, will be an inaugural event for others that we do down the road. But this event here, we're building it around my father's participation. We're going to do something that we've never done before, that I don't think anyone's ever done with my father. My dad and I have had so many fascinating discussions over the years, and I feel very blessed to have him as a father. But they're interesting because sometimes we don't always agree on everything, which makes it, Dad, are you frowning?
Yeah, I'm good.
You look like you're frowning.
Well, yeah, the problem is I got a darn window here, the sun is shining in, and I'm trying to get it out of the way.
You're squinting at your computer screen. Okay.
He wasn't smirking at you.
It wasn't squinting at me. So anyways, we have these fun, my phone is beeping here. We have these fun discussions. And what I decided to do for this event is it's going to be over 3 days, and we're going to have other kinds of instruction, including culinary instruction. Kim will be a part of this. She'll be an important part. And we're going to have delicious food and evening activities, storytellers and musicians and stuff. But every afternoon, my dad and I are going to get up front, and it's going to be a pretty small group, and we wanted it to be small so it would be more intimate and people would have a chance for interaction. And my dad and I are going to have a conversation in front of everyone. And it's going to go on for a while, and then we're going to open it up to participation where people in the audience can ask questions. But I'm going to try to prompt our conversation, Dad, in a way that allows you to tell in a conversational format your story, kind of the story of your life and your research and some of your core thoughts. In a way perhaps that people haven't heard before. So anyway, that's what we're doing December 3rd through 7th.
Dr. Campbell, were you going to say something?
You meant myself? Yeah, well, actually, I don't get that excited about talking about myself or this and that, but quite frankly, because I've ended up talking about things that are very confrontational for some folks, especially in the system, if you will. Where'd you get this from? You know, I did. Where'd you ever think of that? That kind of stuff. On the one hand, on the other hand, you know, a lot of enthusiasm for some of the things. So I'm caught in between this wedge between those who hate what I talk about, you get asked about it, and those who rather like it. And so I have to kind of say where did that come from, best I can, without, I don't want to make it personal, but, you know, saying things like, I came from the farm. I was very much of a country boy. You know, I was not very sophisticated. My father only had 2 years of elementary school education, by the way. Wow. And so, you know, he went to great lengths for me to go to high school, just to mention one thing. I had to drive 2 miles a day on a 2-lane road to go to 5 years of junior and senior high school. And so I had the good fortune of having relatives, professors, and other people finally get me into a place that I never thought I would ever reach. And the only thing I needed to worry about was just telling the truth. So the story goes. You know, it's some of the things that I did in my graduate studies were exactly opposite what I thought. I mean, they're online with what I thought, but my eventual research then ended up in exactly the opposite place where I ever planned. I just lived by the science. I didn't live by my preferences. And
Right.
where the story then takes off and goes in all these crazy directions. Historically, I got really interested in where did we go wrong?
Well,
So,
I think it speaks. I mean, I think I understand your story. I've read about it a lot. Was that, I mean, you went in thinking one thing, but you let the data literally change your thoughts, your ideas, and the entire trajectory of your career. And then it's you literally, I've read, and I haven't confirmed this, but I will today, if you can tell me, you coined the term plant-based. Is that correct?
yes, I did. That was in 1975. Just mention it a little bit because it turns out to be important. In 1978, 79, I was on a committee of NIH at the time on chemical carcinogenesis. And that committee, we call the study sessions, there's lots of them. But we determined, on this committee of 11, 12 people, we determined preferences and priorities for cancer research. And all the committee on the one I was on, they were all pathologists and oncologists and molecular geneticists. I was the only one on nutrition. Some applications were coming into NIH proposing to study. What about this question of nutrition? Well, they didn't have any nutrition. So they made me ask me in our next meeting if I'd take some time to explain what this is. And I knew enough at that time that it was certainly leaning toward eating vegetables and fruits and grains. But I didn't want to use the word vegetarian, to be honest about it, because I got to know the history, and I don't agree with the scientific arguments I make for that. But I had gotten in the community a little bit, and I just came up with this crazy statement, plant-based. And that wasn't the greatest word, but I just used that word. And 3 or 4 years later, I was working with the government on the Justice Department, on questioning use of supplements. I was the expert witness essentially for that. That was a big time too, because there was an industry starting with the message that came from National Academy Science report I was on. So I had to eventually that activity there taught me that nutrient supplements is not the way to go. And it became a pretty big thing. It was, I was involved with the FDA and I got in the newspapers and all kinds of stuff. So I came up with the word whole. That's where it came from, whole, plant-based. And it didn't go anyplace for a while. We published it in about 1983, I think, something like that, but it didn't go anyplace. And all of a sudden, maybe, when was it? In the early 2000s, somehow the word caught on because I put it in the books that we had, I think, in the China Study Cell. And somehow people really caught on to that.
But what's interesting though, and this is one of the things that we're going to cover in our December retreat, is you coined that term, Dad, but today I think, and you and I have had a lot of private discussions about this, it's really become quite misunderstood in our own community. And so that's one of the things that we're gonna talk about, is what does that concept of whole really mean? Of course, it means looking at things in context, looking at the synergies, the complex synergies that exist within a system. But we tend to, in a way, we have actually taken that term and turned it into a very reductionist idea, and taken it to support kind of more extreme points of view. But that's that'll be something we discuss.
I agree with some of what you said, not everything.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll have to flush that out.
Surprise, surprise.
But let me mention the beginning of that term had nothing to do with the architecture of our language or that sort of thing. For me, the beginning really focused on the question: do we think of nutrition one nutrient at a time, one mechanism at a time, one outcome at a time? That's the whole medical system. And what we learned, and this is totally our research, with about 15 graduate students over 15 years. That does not translate into biological activity that's meaningful. It's hit and miss. That's for me where it came from. Then when you get into it, it's Mother Nature. We're looking at the inner workings of Mother Nature. Once you get to see that, and that's been forever since we were put on this planet, that concept, and it's exactly the opposite what the drug industry wants. So that's where it came from for me. But then you're right in the sense that you start thinking about a larger context. And oh my gosh, it works, in our real society. It's not this thing, that thing. It's time to put that concept into play where, it just comes natural for it to work.
So when you said that you don't agree with what I said fully,
Well,
what do you mean? Because I was saying the same thing that you just said.
Yeah, but you started off at a level that somehow that was all based on recognizing the different disciplines that participate in this world in that sense. And I would agree with it. But all I said was, for me, it started at the molecular level. It started at the biological level. That's why I saw it. And that was, that's what
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand completely. And we talked about this. I don't think there's any disagreement here, actually. But this will be the kind of conversation that we can have at our event. I think you were misunderstanding what I was saying.
Well, be that as it may, a little bit different perspective and origin, put it that way. Anyhow,
the origin of the word. Well, so this is just a peekaboo moment of what to expect with you two on the stage, and we get to be flies on the wall for a minute, or an hour or two. This is fantastic. Can we talk a little bit about the actual retreat? Like, how many people are you hoping for, expecting? Where can they learn more information? I'll have a link below, of course. And I know that I'm seriously I'm going to look at my calendar and see if I can come hang out with you guys. So.
Well, we were thinking that we would limit it initially to maybe say 40 people or so. We are currently at 30. So, but we'll see how it goes. But we wanted to keep it relatively small so that people would have a chance to participate and spend a lot of time with us, whether it be Kim or my dad or my mom or me or whatever. And also we're doing this at a location here at Lake Junaluska. We've never done something like this before, so it's a little scary. We're not, we just haven't done this sort of thing. So this is a chance for us to kind of pilot test the idea of doing events here.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. So it's December 3rd through?
December 3rd through 7th. And if people are interested, they can go to the website link that you will have with this podcast.
Perfect. And you have a discount. So we're doing this today on Thursday. You have a discount and through till tomorrow. So poor Jonathan, I'm like, you're going to put this up today, like right now.
It's a very modest discount, but right now people can, get it for the current price through Friday. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excellent. Well, anything else you'd like to share as far as, I'm just tickled that you guys are doing this. I know Kim had mentioned she would enjoy doing something similar to this after when we spent 10 days together and I got to enjoy her food. I was very sad when I had to leave.
Yeah, it was sad, wasn't it, Lori? We felt the same way for days. It took us a while to kind of get over the glow of what had happened.
Yeah.
And it was fun spending that time with you also through that period. Kim and I both thought afterward how great it was to have you there. But it was a lot of fun. So we may do more of those type of events in the future, but also, maybe even other kinds of events where we bring people together in a way, not just to hear the experts talk. There are lots of those conferences around, but one of the thoughts I'm thinking is how do we get people together in a way to foster dialogue around taking action? I think it's time for our community to come together in a more unified way to think strategically about how do we make this movement really happen? How do we turn it into a real movement, not just kind of a random thing, that just the way that it's happening now. We need to morph this into a more strategic and organized movement.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
and the first step in that is bringing people together to talk about it.
I think that is fantastic. Yes, count me in. So whatever I can do to help. So
Okay.
all right. Well, thank you both. I'm super excited. We'll get this edited and put out today. So guys, check it out. If you don't go, if you know someone who might, please share the link. There's only 10 spots left. I'm going to be talking to my husband, see if I can go, if he'll let me. And I'm actually in a hotel room now, so I'll be gone a lot here this last fall. But you guys are such a blessing. Thank you so much for sharing your information with us. And I really hope this helps. And I'm excited to see where you continue to grow. And you guys listen on the ethers for, From Food to Freedom was such a wonderful experience. And it's a fantastic film. When I went, I was invited to Dallas to speak after a showing of it. There was like 120 some odd people there. It was so well received by a general audience too. So I just don't understand why anyone would suppress it or censor it. So, keep your eyes out for it. I'm sure you'll let us know when we can start seeing it.
Yeah, I
or
don't
share more about it.
understand, Lori, how people live with themselves making those decisions that they knowing, that hurt other people.
Yeah, it makes
don't
no
get it.
sense at all why that would be censored. Like I'm just trying, because I have I'm trying to live my life to be as honorable as possible and speak the truth. So it kind of hurts a bit when that happens. So I was like, wow, okay, that's unbelievable. It's like,
Yeah.
what in the world? We live in a crazy place. Well, we'll continue to fight the good fight.
All right. Well, thanks for having us, Lori, and thanks for
Yes.
all that you do to help advance the cause.
Thank you. And we'll come right alongside of you. So one moment. Yeah, thank everyone for listening.